Today I want to share a story, but not just any story. This is a sacred remembering, one that's been whispered through temple walls, carried on the winds of the Nile, and etched into the stars. It's the myth of Isis and Osiris, but more than that, it's a mirror. It's a map for those of us who've walked through heartbreak, grief, betrayal, loss, and still found the courage to rise. This story is thousands of years old, yet it's alive. Seriously, it's alive within you and me right now. It's the story of death and resurrection, of divine feminine power, devotion, and the fierce love that puts the world back together again, piece by sacred piece. So I invite you to find a quiet space if you can. Take a breath, let yourself sink into the mystery, and receive this myth not just with your mind, but with your heart. Because this isn't just mythology, it's initiation. So, welcome to the journey, welcome to the story. Osiris, the just and noble king, he was a bringer of light, order, and soul to the living world. And Isis, his beautiful queen, his equal, she was a goddess of magic, of healing, of motherhood, and of fierce, unshakable love that, refuses to forget. Together, they were divine balance. So Osiris, the divine masculine, and Isis, the divine feminine, in sacred union. Order and mystery, power and grace. But wherever there is light, there is shadow. Set, brother to Osiris, he was jealous, wild, burning with envy. Well, he just couldn't bear the brilliance of that love, the harmony that Osiris brought to the world. And so, as shadow does, he betrayed. He tricked Osiris, and he lured him into a coffin of exquisite beauty, and he sealed it shut, tight, and he cast it into the Nile. And with that, the world, it changed. Grief tore throughout the land. Oh my goodness, the king was gone. Divine order broken. But Isis, she did not collapse. She rose with wings of a hawk and the heart of the great mother. She searched tirelessly, courageously for her beloved, her soul's reflection, her king, and she found him. Hidden inside a tree in a distant land, his body entombed by time, and she brought him home. But Set struck again, this time in rage. He tore Osiris into 14 pieces, scattering them throughout Egypt. And again, Isis rose. Piece by piece, she gathered him. Each limb, each fragment, each sacred loss, she remembered what the world tried to erase. With her sister Nephthys beside her, she reassembled his body, all but one piece, the phallus. It was lost to the river's depths, but you know what? Even that she recreated. Through her love, through her magic, she hovered over Osiris's body and she conceived a child, Horus, the falcon, the future, the light reborn. And Osiris? Well, he did not return to the throne of earth to rule the living. He transcended. He became Lord of the underworld, enthroned in the halls of judgment, the silent sovereign who holds the mysteries of death and rebirth, overseeing the weighing of the heart, the final judge over the soul's fate. And Horus, he rose to face Set, to reclaim the throne on earth, to heal the broken lineage, not only for Egypt, but for all of us. So I'd like you to consider the characters of this myth not as gods and goddesses from some faraway past, but as parts of you. Let me bring the characters to life in you. Osiris, well, he represents the Christ self. He's the part of us that is divine, eternal, and whole. He is the one who remembers our truth, even when the world tries to tear it away. But in the myth, Osiris is betrayed and dismembered by his brother Set. And here's the truth we often resist. The Christ self cannot be fully realized until it is broken open. You know, I once heard Sai Baba. He said, I separated myself from myself in order to know myself. The Christ self cannot be fully realized until it is broken open, fragmented. So, let's talk about Set. Set is the ego. He's the part of us that fears, competes, separates. He is the destroyer, yes, but he is also the necessary catalyst. The ego wounds the soul, but that very wounding is what activates our journey toward remembrance. So you know what? I've come to see Set not as evil, but as a sacred adversary. Without the ego's challenge, the Christ self would remain dormant. Okay, then comes Isis, the great mother, the magician, the healer, and the restorer. She is the Holy Spirit, the divine feminine, the force that remembers and remembers. When Osiris is shattered, fragmented, it is Isis who seeks, who gathers, who puts him back together, piece by sacred piece. Her love doesn't just comfort. No, it resurrects. That's the power of the Spirit working in us. And then there's Nephthys, Isis's sister. Well, she's often forgotten in the story, but she plays a critical role. She is the body, the vessel of experience, the temple of pain and beauty. Though bound to Set, she chooses to help Isis. In this, she reminds us the body, though vulnerable, is not the enemy. When aligned with spirit, the body becomes an ally in the soul's awakening. And from this union, from spirit, body, and the broken Christ, comes Horus, the resurrected soul, the one who has known suffering, death, grief, betrayal, love, all of it. And the return. Horus isn't born despite the trauma. He is born through it. He's the part of us that rises, that claims the throne of our own soul. And so the myth continues. Osiris did not return as he once was. He became more. Just like you, when you go into the underworld, into the dark night of the soul, you come up a different person. And Isis, she showed us what's possible when love meets loss with unwavering devotion. This isn't just their story, it's ours. Because all of us, at some point, are sealed in coffins we never chose. When my daughter died a suicide death, that threw me into the underworld. I was fragmented. I was torn apart. I was in that dark night. All of us have been torn into pieces by life through grief, betrayal, illness, heartbreak, and all of us are called to rise, to gather what's been lost, to remember who we truly are, and to birth something new. I am a different woman. I am a changed person after being thrown into the dark abyss of the underworld. So maybe you're in the middle of that gathering right now. Maybe you're holding just one piece of yourself, unsure how the rest will return. Or maybe you found your wings again. Wherever you are, know this: you're not alone. You are part of a lineage of resurrection. The story of Isis and Osiris lives in your bones, in your breath, in the way you keep choosing love when it would be easier to shut down. So, thank you for walking this path with me. Thank you for remembering. Until next time, trust the mystery, honor the pieces, and never underestimate the power of your rising.